Hey everybody, and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be telling you my testimony about how God has saved my life. So my testimony is somewhat long, but I'm going to do my best to kind of make it short for the sake of this video. My testimony is also very complicated in a way. There's a lot of bits and pieces that I know I'm not going to remember, but over time, as I'm speaking, I'll probably remember most things, so stay with me. Okay, so here's a quick rundown about my medical history. So I was born with truncus arteriosus. Okay, I've had 4 open heart surgeries, 3 catheterizations, a tumor removed from my head, and I also had a TIA, which is a transient ischemic attack. That was a mouthful, but I'll actually kind of give a quick little explanation of what these things are, or I'll just put a picture with the definition or something. I don't know. So when I was born with truncus arteriosus. And truncus arteriosus, I'm reading the definition directly from Google here. Truncus arteriosus is a rare congenital heart defect where the main artery, which is the truncus, that carries blood from the heart to the body and lungs is a single large vessel instead of 2 separate vessels. So obviously that's a huge problem, because I'm going to show you a picture of a normal heart, and then I'm going to show you a picture of what mine looked like when I was born. So there's supposed to be 2 different vessels, right? One carrying blood that has oxygen, and the other vessel that's carrying blood that doesn't have oxygen. In my case, it was one large vessel, so those 2 kinds of bloods were 2 bloods, oh my God. Those 2 things, they were mixing. So the oxygen-rich blood and then the blood that didn't have oxygen, they were mixing, and that's obviously very dangerous. So that's what was going on, and they needed to repair that. So they used a homograft. They used that as a way to separate the 2 vessels and then close patches and holes and whatnot in my heart so that it can pump properly. So I can imagine what the outcome of that would be like. Of course, I was a baby. I didn't really know what was going on. I was a newborn. I had my first surgery, this one done at just 5 days old. So I can't really say I know exactly how it felt or what happened, but I can imagine that would probably end terribly if nothing was done about it. So yeah, I had that done, and then that was done on August 6th of 1998. I was born the 31st of July, so a few days later. September 5th, 2001, I had the right ventricle to pulmonary artery replaced. Homograft? I don't know. Oh, okay. So a homograft was replaced for my my heart. So I'm guessing as I got older, my heart continued to grow, and so with it becoming more narrow, they would have to continue to replace it so that those parts and pieces could fit. So it was that homograft that they replaced then. So a homograft aortic valve replacement uses a human donor valve to replace a deceased one. A diseased one? Oh my God, I said deceased. A diseased one, offering advantages like a lower risk of infection and no need for long-term blood thinners. Yeah. So the advantages of using a homograft: it lowers the risk of infection, no need for blood thinners, and then it's good hemodynamic function, which means they have an excellent blood flow profile, and then there's lower risk for blood clots. So yeah, I've had that done in 2001, September. And following that, 2000, 2003, 2004, 2012, but not following that, I'm just going by what's in my history and how it was put. So in 2000, 2003, 2004, and 2012, I had cardiac caths for stents to the homograft. So again, as I got older, the homograft, the parts continued to narrow because I'm getting bigger and my heart is working hard, of course, to do what it needs to do. So for those 4 years, 2012, 2000, 2003, and 2004, they had to place a stent. I'm gonna put a picture of what a stent looks like. I actually even have a picture of the stent that's in my heart too. So I'm gonna put that as well. So fair warning, I'm gonna put a picture of my actual stent. I'm gonna put it right there. So a stent is a small expandable metal tube that is inserted into a narrowed or blocked artery in the heart. It helps to keep the artery open and improve blood flow to the heart muscle. Okay. So why is a stent needed? Stents are typically used to treat coronary artery disease, which is a condition where the arteries that supply blood to the heart become narrowed or blocked by plaque buildup. This can lead to chest pain, shortness of breath, and other heart problems. Okay, so yeah, I had that done 4 times. And then I also, in 2015, 2015 was actually with the last open heart surgery that I had. So in 2015, which was like the major surgery, that one took about 10 hours for that surgery. It took about 10 hours for them to do that surgery. I had a St. Jude aortic mechanical heart valve placed into my heart. I'm gonna put a picture of what that looks like right here. I don't think I have a picture of that in my actual heart though. I don't think I have that one. I wasn't given that, but I'll just put a picture of what that looks like right here. That surgery was a tough one. That was a hard one. That might be the only heart surgery that I can actually remember the experience of, because with the other ones, of course, I was young. I was small, like I was a baby. So I can't really say much about what that was like. The only people who I can actually call out to explain their experience during that was my family and what it was like for them. But as for me, I didn't remember them. But this last one, the aortic valve replacement to put in the mechanical heart valve, that was a tough surgery. That was tough. I remember finding out when I was gonna have that surgery. It's crazy. I went to the hospital with my mom. Regular appointment. I had to do, I believe, a stress test. I was on the treadmill. I don't think I did the bike. I think I did the treadmill this time. And wait till we get our results and stuff. So we have another appointment, follow up, and then they do tests. They do the echo and everything, and finally we get to the next follow up appointment, and they tell us that my heart's not looking so good. I don't exactly know what was wrong with it at the time. It's a little fuzzy, but I do remember them telling me that I needed to have heart surgery. At the time, my mom did pray that it was going to be a catheterization instead. She didn't, we didn't know the extent of how bad things were. So, a cardiac cath, easy, simple. You won't have to cut chest open or anything like that. It's more of you insert through one of the large veins or arteries, and just do what you have to do. But this wasn't that kind of surgery. So with this one, I was confident in this one. I was confident with this surgery because honestly, I don't know. It's just at the time I wasn't afraid. I wasn't scared of what was going on. I just wanted to get through it. But when they told me, of course I was surprised. I was shocked, but my mom was there and she immediately, she was crying. She started crying right away. And so in my heart, I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna be able to sit and watch her crying like this. So I'm just like, no, it's fine. It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. It's all right. It's whatever. I prefer that anyway. I'll prefer the open heart and whatnot. Why I was saying these things, I don't know. It's just that I felt like I needed to be strong in that moment. So I did. And not only was that a huge shock for the both of us, but that was also the year of my senior year in high school. So a lot was happening at the time. Um, yeah, so the time was winding down. I was getting ready to do the surgery, and it finally came the time for it to happen, which I don't even think was long after us finding out, like maybe weeks, months, I don't know. But I had the surgery, and I woke up from that surgery a few times from what they're telling me. I don't know, but I only remember 2 times that I woke up from that surgery. The first time I woke up, I guess it was from when they was trying to remove the tube out of my throat. I have a video of that. If I can, I'm gonna put it right here. A video of how I looked and what it was like for me when they took it out. That was like right out after surgery, so I was probably still under some heavy medication. I didn't really feel anything except that they removed it, and I was just coughing and coughing and coughing. But I'm sure I went back to sleep after that. I think I did, because I remember waking up the second time, and I woke up just so normal, and I'm looking around, probably still gone with those drugs that they was giving me for pain, and I'm just like, oh, my room looks nice. This is really nice, because at the time my parents were remodeling the house, so I'm like, dang, my room looks good. But it took me like a couple minutes to realize, okay, I'm not home. I'm in the hospital. Like, it's crazy. I woke up from that one, and I recovered fine. I recovered very well from that surgery. Obviously, I'm still here. It was a roller coaster, because with the thing about the St. Jude, well, not, I'm not going to say St. Jude. I don't know how many there are. The thing with the mechanical valve is that it makes a noise as your heart is beating. And for the first couple days, I kind of like looked past it. I was just like, okay, I'm recovering. I just want to feel better. I just want to do normal things again. And so it didn't really like hit me until maybe like a week or two later. And I'm like, wait, my heart, like this sound is like, is really loud. If I sit quiet, you probably have been hearing it the whole time that I was saying this, but like when I sit quiet next to someone, they can hear it. So I'll be quiet and see if you can hear it through the video. So it's like a ticking sound. It's like a watch. I think that's what bothered me the most throughout that surgery. Well, throughout that whole process, because it just kept ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking in my head. And it was kind of like driving me crazy a bit, because yes, my heart was repaired. My heart was fine, but it's like, okay, how am I gonna live like this? Like, how am I gonna sit and listen to this thing all day? It was not easy for me, because I still had one more year of high school. I was still trying to be normal. And all I could think about is the fact that now I had this ticking time bomb in my chest. And I'm going to be on blood thinners for the rest of my life. Looking back at it, I really could have, I can't go back and change how things were, but I cried often about it. I cried and cried and cried and cried. Now that I sit and think about it, like, okay, there's sometimes I'm sitting there and I don't even remember that it's ticking. I don't remember it, but it still bothers me because it's constant. But I'm just happy to be alive. I just thank God that I'm still here, because things could have been worse. A 10-hour surgery, that could have went way left. But I'm still here, still breathing, still walking, living, and gonna be on meds for the rest of my life, but I'll take that instead of being 6 feet under or stuck in a hospital bed for the rest of my life, in a coma or anything. That was a tough surgery. I've had so many dreams while in there, like seeing the most craziest things, like my body just in the bed with maggots all over and death and things in my window and things like it was very, very, very traumatizing. It was very emotionally traumatizing at the time. But looking back, it doesn't even feel like I went through that. My body went through some things in that surgery. But moving on. So I had a tumor in my head or mouth. I don't really know how to explain the positioning of where it was. So I had a tumor that was found in my head, and believe it or not, it was my mom that discovered it. So my mom watching me, I was in middle school at the time. I think I was in 8th grade, starting 8th grade or middle of 8th grade, I don't know. And mothers always see things. So my mom, she noticed that my face started to look a little different on this side. And it was like the slightest change, the slightest difference that you could ever imagine. The smallest thing. And she was like, yeah, something's wrong. And I'm like, what's wrong? I don't see nothing. And she's like, no, something's wrong with your face, something's swollen. And I'm like, okay. So I used to have a lot of these like abscess, I don't know how to call them, but or cysts, I don't know, in my mouth, like these bumps that would fill up with things, over time. So we just assumed, okay, maybe that's it, but this one's kind of big. So we went to the dentist to go check it out, and we did an x-ray and a few other things, a couple tests just to see what it might be. And after looking at the x-rays, the doctor was just like, yeah, this doesn't really have much to do with her teeth. I don't think it has anything to do with how her teeth is forming or anything of that sort. So I think you need to go and do a biopsy just to see what that mass is in her face, my face. And so we went to this other hospital, and it was the quickest thing ever. I was in and out. They put me in the chair and they told me how it was gonna go and stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. And they put me on this laughing gas. Well, laughing gas. I don't know what it's called, but they put me on laughing gas, and it was so chill. Like it was like the easiest, quickest thing ever. They did the biopsy. I felt things, but not like pain things. I felt things, and I felt them moving around and whatnot, and I'm just here laughing my butt off. They did the biopsy, and then that was done. I went home. My face was just big, and then we waited for the results. And so we get the results maybe days later. I would say days, weeks. I don't know. And we get back to the hospital where they were ready to tell us what's going on, and then it turns out I had a tumor in my head. So originally we was like, oh, a tumor? Like, what do you mean a tumor? But they were saying it was benign, so that's not really it's not cancerous. Thank God. Thankfully it wasn't. But yeah, it was there, and then it was like it was continuing to grow where it was. And so he was like, yeah, we have to remove that, because if you let that sit in there and continue to grow, it really could affect a lot more than you think. So where it was, like, I would say, just off of the markings they made on my face, where I'm assuming, it was near here, in this area here. But how big it was, like the mass, I don't know. But it was in this area here. And so when they was getting ready to do the surgery, they decided that they would go from inside. I don't know if that's how it normally is, where they go from inside normally, or if they ever have to make an incision on the outside. But I'm just glad it was from the inside. So they did the incision from inside, and they were able to remove the mass. They removed the tumor. And again, thankfully, it was nothing cancerous. It never returned. It never became anything worse. But they did say that if it remained there, then it could have affected my vision. It could have affected my vision and God knows what else. But I thank God and my mom that it was caught when it was caught, because who knows what that could have turned into. And that was the last thing I needed to deal with. So this surgery was before the aortic valve replacement. So that was before I had that last surgery. So this one right here, I don't know. I feel like this surgery, even though I said I cried a lot with the aortic valve replacement, that tumor being removed from my head, that one right there made me cry more than any of those other surgeries that I've had, because I cry about it to this day. And not because, okay, I had surgery, they removed the tumor. Thank God they removed that tumor. I'm happy. But the thing about this one right here is that it took a lot more from me than I would have liked. Now, this is not me saying that I'm not grateful. I'm grateful because it was done quickly. They did an amazing job, and I'm just glad to have my life in my sight, you know? But when they did the surgery, so first when they did the biopsy, they had to remove 2 teeth. They removed those 2 teeth. They did the biopsy, and they was able to, I still had baby teeth at the time, by the way. So they was able to, after they took out the tumor, they pulled down the other 2 teeth. They moved those 2 teeth and put them in place. And then I was good after that. I was fine. And then they closed up. But when they did the actual surgery, they had to remove those 2 teeth as well. So not only was the baby teeth gone, but the 2 adult teeth are gone. And immediately that did not affect me right away, because I'm like, well, I have my life. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I can see. Who cares? Thank God I'm here. It was not easy during the months after that, years after that, and even today, because I'm a very happy person. Obviously, you can see I like to smile a lot. I smile a lot. And it wasn't until they actually saw me in a follow-up after the surgery, and they was like, yeah, everything went well, but, we're sorry we ended up having to take, more teeth from you. And I was like, huh? What do you mean? What do you mean more teeth? I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, they ended up taking 2 more teeth from me, and now I'm just like this. So years have went by, and I'm still to this day not like confident like I used to be. I don't smile around people like I used to. I used to have like the biggest, brightest smile. I can't even smile around people. And my confidence has really, 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 really dropped so low because of it. But it's like every time I sit and think about it, I'm like, but I'm alive. I'm still here. I'm living and I'm breathing. Thank God. And this can easily be fixed. So I thought. But yeah, so years later, I'm like, maybe let me just go ahead and try to get this done. Let me just fix it. Fix my teeth so I can, smile again. And I went to the dentist. I said, how can we fix this? Can I do implants? Can I do braces afterward? What can I do? And so it turns out now there's like a hole there. So there's bone that's missing. And I would have to have a bone graft to actually make bone there, to actually put teeth in. So my insurance is not covering these things, so that's hard. That's a tough one that I'm still battling today, because I love to smile, but my confidence is like gone now because of it. But I said, you know what? At the end of the day, I have a testimony to tell, and I'm gonna tell it, because out of all the things that I've been through, this can't be the one thing that's still holding me back from speaking and telling people about what God's done for me. I know I'm still gonna have days when I cry about it. I'm gonna look at myself in the mirror and be like, wow, that was something. But no matter what, it's not gonna take away from God's glory, because I'm still here because of God. There's no way I would allow this to stop me from praising God. I'll get over it eventually. It's been years, but I'll get over it. It's like, it's not gonna kill me, because I could have died. It could have been worse. but I'm just glad that I'm alive and well, So one day I'll be able to afford it. I'll be able to raise the money. I'll get my teeth fixed, and that's a easy 1, 2, 3. But my life, to lose my life, that's not to be fixed by 1, 2, 3. It's not like that. So that was that. I know this was the same year I had a heart surgery. So not only did I have the tumor removed that year, but I also had another heart surgery that same year. So those two big old blows in 1 year, that was a lot. That was 2 years. That was, 2 operations in 1 year, and it took a toll on me. And I was in middle school. I was in 8th grade at the time. So yeah. Then I don't remember the year, but I also ended up having a TIA, which is a transient ischemic attack. I'm going to look that one up because I don't want to mess up this definition. A TIA, which is a transient ischemic attack, I'll put the definition right here. It is a mini stroke caused by a temporary blockage of blood flow to the brain. Symptoms are the same as a stroke, but last for a shorter time, usually resolving within minutes to hours. A TIA is a medical emergency and a major warning sign of a future stroke, so it's crucial to call 911 immediately to get evaluated. So this happened normal day. I think I was sitting at a wedding when this happened too. I was just sitting talking normal, and then all of a sudden I felt my face. I was speaking to my sister, right? So she was sitting in front of me, but she turned back, of course, to speak to me as I was sitting there. And then as I'm speaking to her, the words that I was saying just started to feel like it started to jumble up. Like I didn't know what I was saying. So I'm just talking and things are coming out of my mind, and it's like whatever, like mumbo jumbo. And then as I'm speaking, I felt the right side of my face just start drooping. Now, I don't believe that they could actually physically see that because, of course, they didn't say anything. But my face, it felt like it was just dropping on one side as I'm speaking to her, as I'm speaking to my sister. And out of nowhere, I just all of a sudden, I just went back to normal. And I'm like, okay, what just happened? And I didn't say anything for that night. Now, I know if I told my mom that night, I'd be rushed to the hospital right then and there. But I was like, you know what? No, I'm good. I'm fine. Nothing happened. It's normal. I told my sister that night. My sister and her husband, I told them that night about what happened. And, of course, they were really concerned and worried. But the night ended, and then we, went to sleep. That next morning, I got a phone call from my mom so early. It was like, what happened to you? What on earth happened at the wedding? And you didn't say anything. And I explained everything to her and what happened. And she was like, oh, heck no, you're going to the hospital. And so I went, and it turns out that I ended up having the TIA. And ever since that time, I had been on high alert with myself. Like, okay, I have to be careful. I have to watch out. I have to be careful for what I'm doing. Now, at this time, I had no idea what a TIA was. So in my head, I don't even think I thought about a stroke at the time. Like my head wasn't there, but I was just afraid that whatever it was going to be worse than I thought it was. That's why I didn't say anything. But bad idea. If something is going on like that, you have to speak up. You have to say something. But I didn't want to say anything because I was afraid of what it could be. But thank God Almighty, it didn't become worse. It wasn't bad. It wasn't life-threatening. Well, of course, it's life-threatening, but basically what I'm saying is I was able to get out of it easy instead of needing actual medical attention or medical interference. I was good. I went to the hospital. They discharged me, after some time, and then it was like, I just have to be careful. So that happened. And then, a couple of years go by and I'm fine. I have my mechanical heart valve and, I'm chilling. No other TIAs. My head is doing fine. But following the TIA though, when they did the CT scan, they checked my brain. They did notice changes in my brain, but it wasn't anything significant, anything that was on high alert. I didn't need to be on high alert. It was just that changes happened, but I'm doing just fine. So that was okay. Okay, so years go by after my last open heart surgery. I've had, a few run-ins in the hospital, in and out, but nothing major. Just, being careful and going to the emergency room when things change, just to be, mindful of myself, just to make sure everything is all good. Years go by and I'm living a normal life, and God is like taking good care of me because I'm like staying far away from the hospital. I'm doing good. I'm taking my meds, and I'm just rejoicing and living my life. And then soon I get married. I ended up getting married, and I was with my husband for 2 years before we got married, and we got married and stuff. And then, because I was getting married, because I have a good relationship with my cardiologist. So whenever something significant happens, we speak to each other just so we can be on the same page about things, so that my heart is 100% healthy. I'm good. I'm just in the best shape that I could possibly be. So he then finds out, okay, well, you're getting married, so you're gonna have to, if you plan on having kids, you're really gonna have to be careful. You're gonna have to, like, if you plan on having kids, we have to be prepped for this. Like, we have to be prepared for all of this to make sure that everything from A to Z is planned out accordingly. Because with me, the thing is, with being on blood thinners, having a baby can be very dangerous. Okay, so I'm on warfarin, and while pregnant, I shouldn't be on warfarin because of my baby. So I'm gonna put what I'm gonna read. I'm gonna put right here so you read too. But warfarin is not recommended for use during pregnancy because it crosses the placenta and can cause serious birth defects and fetal bleeding complications. The risk is highest in the first trimester during the critical period of fetal development. All right, so that's the that's one of the main reasons why my doctor really wanted to know beforehand if I'm gonna get pregnant, if I'm gonna try to get pregnant, if I really wanted to do this. My heart was already not in the best shape that it could be, because even though my aortic valve was fine, now I have the mechanical valve. My mitral valve was not doing the best that it should. So that one was already having some complications, and we were speaking about me having a catheterization for it before, but never actually got to it because, everything was kind of stable. There was no dramatic changes, so we left that alone. But he was really on me about it. Like, if you plan on having a baby, you gotta, we have to plan this before you do. And so I always kept that in mind. And I always thought, and I spoke to God, like, okay, is this even possible? Like, can I have a baby? Like, is this gonna work out? In the beginning stages, when I used to talk to him about it, it didn't scare me. It didn't, worry me or anything. I had faith. I wasn't scared about none of that. But as time progressed and, I got married and I was more serious, I was like, okay, how is this gonna affect me? Now, when a few months went by of us being married, I started to think about it more. I started thinking about having a baby more often. Not because I felt like we were missing something. It wasn't that we were lacking anything, but it was more, let me just say, sometimes when people don't know what you're going through, what you're dealing with, and they decide to push you in a direction that is dangerous for you. It was like that. So, yes, I wanted to have a baby. My husband wanted to have a baby. Now, were we forcing ourselves to have that baby? No, we talked about it. We talked about options, and we were good with waiting or whenever we was prepared to have one. The thing is, though, is that a lot of pressure. I'm getting a lot of pressure from outside, so it kind of made it hard for me to really just relax and think about it later. But the time came and I was like, you know what, fine, okay, maybe I could try and have a baby. Let me see. Let me just see the income would be like. Let me just see how it's gonna work, the outcome, I mean. So I spoke to my doctor again, my cardiologist, and I asked about what the process would be like. Well, honestly, he always brought it up to me. It wasn't me that brought it up to him, but I guess because he knew that, okay, we're newlyweds, let me just keep you guys informed about the dangers and the risks, and he's an amazing doctor, so I thank him for that. So here's how the process would work when being pregnant while on blood thinners, while needing blood thinners. So not only do I already have a heart that's kind of like always on life support, like it's always just, my heart is like, it's been through some things already. But with the mechanical valve and being on blood thinners, I cannot be without a blood thinner. Because essentially having a mechanical valve, a mechanical piece in your heart, your body is like, it's thinking that's a wound. Like it's thinking that's, that there's something wrong, like, so let's try to fix it. So it'll try to form blood clots around it to stop the bleeding or to stop, from things from, being open or whatever. It's trying to repair itself. So the blood clots will be attracted to that piece of metal because it's a foreign object in my body. Like, where does this come from? This doesn't feel like it's supposed to be here. So to replace the warfarin, in a way, I ended up being on something called enoxaparin, but it's an injection. So basically he was saying, okay, so from day one of your pregnancy to the very end, I'm going to need to be taking these injections to my stomach twice a day, one in the daytime, one in the afternoon or midday. They had to be 12 hours apart, basically. So that drug, what it does, I'm going to read that. It's an anticoagulant or blood thinner used to prevent and treat dangerous blood clots like deep vein thrombosis. So basically, I had to take it subcutaneously because if I did it that way, then it wouldn't reach my baby. It wouldn't reach the womb and all that stuff. So twice a day to my stomach, like, my skin is very sensitive, so that was not easy. So that's how it would end up having to be. Twice a day, I would have to be monitored quite often. I would have to, be careful for everything, basically. And I weighed these things, like, okay, my life versus a new life. Like, is it worth it to put myself through this thing? And after constantly speaking to my husband and stuff, I'm like, you know what? Okay, maybe we should just give it a shot. I have faith. My faith is crazy. The thing is, I just believe that, it's possible. If God willing, it's possible. It'll happen. It'll come when the time comes. If it's in God's will, it's gonna happen. And so we were only married maybe a couple months at this time. And no, I did not plan on trying to have a baby right away. But again, a lot of pressure. I put my faith and my trust in God. And I spoke to God and was like, okay, God, what I'm trying to do is very, very risky. It's risky. It's really risky. But I know that this is not impossible. Like, it's not impossible for God. I know it's not impossible. But I was going back and forth with myself, back and forth, because I was just nervous about, okay, well, God, is this really in your will? I don't want to be an example for someone to be like, okay, well, yeah, I'm not going to try that because look what happened to her. I didn't want to be that example, but I had to put my faith out there for this. So I prayed and spent months praying and months and months and months and months. And for a while, we were trying to conceive. And I'm like, okay, when the time comes, it'll happen. It'll happen. But of course, knowing me, my anxiety and all the voices and people, I'm really forcing. I'm like, I'm pushing for this thing. And so I just prayed and prayed for months and months and months. But before those months of praying came, I spoke to God and I was like, okay, what I'm asking for, I know is not simple. it's not simple. It's not just, it's not something to be taken lightly, because this is my life that I'm putting on the line. This is my life. I didn't want to be selfish. I understood this is a decision that's supposed between me and my husband. And this is also ultimately just my decision, because it's my heart, my life I'm putting on the line. But it's like, I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I would end up leaving my husband behind. I didn't want to do that. But I had faith, and I was like, okay, well, God, I really need you on this, because I would love to make this happen. Like, I would love to see this happen. And I would be devastated if it turns out that I'm never able to have a child. But also, I want to live, like, I don't want to just die, but so months and months go by. But before that, I spoke to God, and I was like, okay, God, I know that what I'm asking for is crazy. I know that what I'm asking for is a lot, but I trust you. I have faith in you, So essentially, it's going to sound crazy, but I made a deal with God. I made a deal. Like an actual deal. And I was like, okay, God. Because after all these months of praying and fasting, I don't know if you hear me. I'm praying because I want to have this baby. I would love to have a child. Like, I really want to have one. I don't want to be put to shame, because I'm already looked at as being the girl with the heart problem. I kind of feel like people look down on me sometimes, like, oh, well, she can't do anything. Oh, she's damaged goods or whatever. And I felt that way for a while. But I was like, okay, God, I don't want to be put to shame like this. If you give me a child, God, that child will be for you. And I will testify. I will testify. I will write my testimony. I will tell my testimony. The glory will all 100% be for you, God. 100% if you give me this baby. And I made that prayer for weeks and weeks and months. I prayed that same prayer, and I said, God, if you give me this, I will do this. You give me this, I'll do this for you. I will testify. And there isn't anything that we can actually do for God. He doesn't need anything from us but glory. All he asks for is glory. The glory and worship. And I'm like, okay, my testimony, I can worship you with my testimony. I can give you glory with my testimony. You just give me this baby, and I promise I will testify. I will tell my whole world my testimony. The whole world my testimony. Everyone will hear it if you give me this baby. If you make it happen for me. Because I've been through some things, and I know childbirth is not easy. It was not easy, but I had open heart surgery. I've had tumors in my head. I've had a stroke. I've had a lot of things happen to me, and I was a whole newborn. I was fresh out the womb dealing with these things. I'm like, God, you did all that. There's no way possible that this is impossible. I know for a fact that if you can do those things, you can do this. You raised someone from the dead, you can do this. God, you've healed sicknesses that are deemed incurable. Then you can do this. You can do countless miracles. This one that I'm asking for is nothing compared to what I know that you can do. And I made that prayer often. I'm like, God, I know you can do this. You can do this for me because you've done those things. This is nothing compared to what I know that you can do, or things that I haven't even been able to think about that you can do. I put my faith in God because I know God is powerful. He's all powerful. There was a part of me that felt like it's not gonna happen, only because I'm like, okay, I think maybe I am asking for too much. Am I asking for too much? Like, am I really trying to like put my life on the line right now? Like, am I really doing this? But the other part of me was like, okay, well, pipe down. Listen, you know who your God is, and you've seen what He can do. There's no way possible that I'm gonna sit here and believe that He can't give me a child. Like, come on. I'm woken up from a 10-hour surgery. I've had hands in my chest, hands in my heart out on the table, all these things physical, like happening to my heart, my body, my mind, everything. And I'm still here. This isn't going to take me out if God says so. So I prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for months and months. And I sat and thought about my history. I'm like, yo, is this really what's going to take me out? Me having a baby? But then I'm talking to the other side of me, and I'm like, no, God's got this. And I'm praying and praying and praying and praying. And we tried. I fasted too. And we're praying and we're trying and stuff, and nothing's happening. And finally, I got to that 11th month. Not even a full year yet. Can you believe like how much people can talk, and the pressure can cause you to do something so wild? But I did want this baby. I did, but I wasn't going to rush it the way I was rushing it without that. So I got to the 11th month, and 10th month. It was October. I remember it was October, and I'm like, okay. I was home alone this time. My husband was at work, and I'm just praying and praying loud in the house, just praying, speaking to God, and praying and praying and praying. And at one point, I turned around and I started speaking to the devil, and I'm like, you know what? The devil is a liar. I spoke directly, and I spoke directly to him, and I was like, you know what? God is going to put you to shame. He's going to put you to shame because I'm going to have a child. He will bless me with a child. I have no doubt that I'm going to have a child. Speaking directly to the devil, just speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking. I'm saying, God is going to do this. He's going to do that. God is going to heal me. God is going to help me. He's going to protect me. He's going to give me a baby, whether a boy or girl is going to be healthy. All this I'm praying in Jesus' name, and I'm speaking directly to the devil. I'm like, you know what? God's got me. He's not going to let anything happen to me, and I'm going to have a baby. Now, here's where I overstepped a bit. Not overstep. I'm not going to lie. It's okay sometimes to push the limits, to push towards things for God's glory. But here's the thing, though. This was like one of the craziest tests ever. I said, by next month, I'm gonna have my baby. Next month. I said that firmly. Next month, I'm gonna have that baby. And I had confidence. And I'm praying. I'm talking to the devil like, yeah, God's got me. He's got my back, and He won't put me to shame. That next month came, and I was so nervous. I'm like, dang, I really said that, huh? All right, okay, cool. So I take a pregnancy test, and it was positive. We were so happy. We rejoiced. We was just happy. Just went out to eat and everything. And I was happy. And I'm like, okay, look at that. Maybe like a week or two go by, and then I'm losing it. I lost that baby. That was quick. It was very short-lived, and I was like, dang. I lost it. I was devastated at the time because I'm like, man, I really, really, really went in when I was praying. Like, is this, like, God, are you really allowing me to be embarrassed like this? Like, yo, I sat there and told the devil, I'm about to have a baby next month. Like, I sat there and I prayed and prayed and prayed, and I spoke directly to him. And now all I'm thinking in my head is the devil is laughing right at me right now. The devil is laughing at me, just laughing and laughing and making fun and throwing rocks at me, and just I feel stupid because I really had faith there. And there's no baby. Now, one side of me is like, okay, well, it was positive. It happened. But the other side of me is like, well, that was kind of like a trick, like a little joke. Like, okay, you're pregnant, but sorry, it's gone. So that it hurt. It messed with my head so much. It messed with my head a lot. And I was devastated. I cried. I was devastated about it. However, I didn't stop there. Like, I didn't just give up. So the following month, I said, you know what? Fine. You know what? Maybe it's not your timing, God, but I still want this. I still want this. And so I'm praying about it, and I'm just like, God, that hurt me. It hurt. But and something in me really, really, really wanted to be mad, so mad at God. But no, see, that, I can't be mad at God. I can't. Look at everything that I went through. How could I ever, possibly ever be mad at God for anything? Anything. Like, imagine, little old me. Like, I sit there and look at my pictures, and I'm just like, yo, I shouldn't be here. Like, I really shouldn't be here. Like, I should be 6 feet under in a tiny baby casket. I shouldn't be here. So I couldn't be mad at God, because I'm like, you know what? God, you've done so many things for me. Yes, my heart was aching, and I had so much rage. Like, it was like fire in my chest, fire in my heart, just blazing, just angry. But even though there's one thing that kept trying to get me to turn my anger to God, I couldn't do that. I had to keep pivoting and turning around, because I'm like, no, there's no way I'm ever going to be mad at God for something like that, because he could be saving my life. He could be saving my life. Like, why would I sit there and turn and blame God? Like, oh, you could have gave me this. He could have did that. Well, he could have killed me a long time ago. He could have allowed me to die. Like, that would have been it. But I'm here. I'm walking. I'm alive. Like, come on. I have my life. So I had faith. I said, God, okay, let me tone it down a bit. God, I have faith in you. I really want a baby. I know that nothing is impossible for you. God, if you give me this baby, I will testify. And I will tell the world everything that you've done for me. I will tell the world, I'll tell people about the miracles. I'll tell about the things that I've witnessed, things that I've felt, things that you've done for me. For your glory, God. Give you all the glory. All the glory belongs to God. All the glory belongs to you, God. All I ask is for a child, just a baby. Just a baby to call my own. For me and for my husband. I want us to be able to have something from us. Like, I love my husband dearly. And that was like my greatest joy. Like, thinking about being able to give him a baby. Like, that was huge to me. I'm like, okay, let's do this. I thought about my life, of course, I did, but like, I don't know. I was like, okay, God, please, let this be the greatest miracle possible that you do for me. Please, a huge miracle. Because I could have testified a long time ago, but I never felt right. I never felt like it was time. And I could testify about the smallest things possible, but I was like, no, it's not yet. Because my testimony, it's not boring, but I felt like it was missing something. I said, God, I need something big. I need something bigger. Do something huge. Let it be this, God. And I will testify to the whole world about everything you've done for me. Let me just have this. So that following month was November. And I was pregnant. And this one stayed. This one stuck around. Man, I tiptoed about it. But the thing is, I wasn't nervous about losing this one. I don't know why. This one felt sure. This one felt like 100%. I didn't tell my people, though. I didn't tell them right away until maybe a month or two later. So I told my mom. I knew that it was going to be a lot for her to take in. But I told her. And she cried. I know she was happy, but I know she was scared. Because for me, I felt like me telling her that kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like when she found out that I was pregnant, it's like she pictured me as a baby again, with all the wires and things all over my body. And I know it scared her. But I praise God that my mom is around for me to tell her these things, because she's my backbone. I'll be very honest. I don't think I could get through any of these things without her. I wouldn't be able to get through anything without her. So I know it kind of, it hurt her, but I also know that she was praying for me nonstop. Man, she had everybody praying. Everybody and their mama was praying for me. Every church that she could think of, everybody was praying. Prayer line, prayer group, prayer circle, all of them. Church, leader, anybody. She had everyone praying for me from that day. And I know that I wouldn't be able to get through it without her. I know I wouldn't. So time goes by, I'm pregnant. I've had a very healthy pregnancy. Very healthy pregnancy. I had issues. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't perfect, but I was healthy. My baby was healthy, man. Like, I was good. Everything was good for a couple months until I needed to get a cerclage. So this one, it happens. So this doesn't really have anything to do with my heart. But with this one, I needed a cerclage. So basically, let me look this one up so I can get the exact thing. So a cerclage is a surgical procedure that involves placing a stitch or a band around the cervix to prevent it from opening too early during pregnancy. So I had to get the cerclage done because I think I was, how many weeks? I think I was only 14 weeks at the time. So yeah, at 14 weeks, I ended up having to get a cerclage. So my baby was in a good position, but so I had something called the placenta previa. Okay, so placenta previa is a condition in which the placenta partially or wholly blocks the neck of the uterus, thus interfering with the normal delivery of a baby. So my placenta was in a really bad spot. It was in a really weird spot. Basically the opening, like where the cervix is, I guess. I don't know. So a lot of things could have gone wrong, but it was caught early. It was a quick operation. I was in and out. I had an epidural put in for it. It sucked. But yeah, I had an epidural and I was losing my mind in there. I thought that, I don't know why I was so scared. I was shaking, losing my mind, going crazy in that room, getting ready for it to be done. I was awake the whole time. I got the cerclage in, they put the stitch in. The thing is, my cervix was opening, little by little. I think I was already a centimeter open. And the thing is, where I lived at the time, we had stairs. So I'm up and down stairs, I'm walking around and I'm thinking, ooh, this sharp pain, what's that? Maybe, it's probably normal for pregnancy. So I'm not paying any mind. Come to find out, my cervix was opening and my baby's head was about to fall out. Yeah, so he was down there pretty early. So that needed to be taken care of. And that happened on my husband's birthday, believe it or not. So I had that done and then I was doing good for the rest of my pregnancy until I wasn't. So as I'm big and waddling everywhere, everything is all good and whatnot, until one day I was sitting at my computer. No, sorry. I was playing Fortnite. And I was with my nephew playing Fortnite, and I was sitting there. I sat there for an hour on that chair just chilling, playing. And I was like, wait, I have to use the bathroom. So I'm sitting there on the chair and I get up. The second I got up, I felt a gush of whatever that was, liquid, all down my legs. I said, ooh, what's going on? I don't remember how many months I was. 7 months? 6 months? I don't know, 7? I don't remember. I was too scared to remember. But I got up and I'm like, oh my God, did my water break? Oh heck no, it's too early for that. All I could think about was the cerclage. I didn't want to feel that opening up. Like, oh shoot, it's probably gonna hurt. But it wasn't. I went to go stand on the toilet because I'm like, okay, let me just go check. I still have to pee. There was blood everywhere. Everywhere. Blood all down my legs, blood, my stomach, my hands, everywhere. And I'm like, Who? Listen, I busted out crying immediately. I was crying and crying and crying. My husband wasn't there because he was at work. My sister was there. I called my nephew. I said, "Hey, go call your auntie now, like immediately." I'm so glad she was home that day because she wasn't supposed to be home. I'm on the phone with 911. I'm speaking to them. I could barely speak. Like, I'm losing my mind because I felt down there, and I'm like, I felt something like round and soft. I'm like, what is that? In my head, immediately, I thought, oh my God, is that my baby? What is happening right now? I was scared. I was losing my mind. I was losing it. And the emergency, what is it called again? EMT? Oh, I don't want to be wrong. But yeah, they came and they was like, okay, let's check to see what that was that you felt. I'm like, okay. And I'm laying down on my back flat and they're just trying to see, like, oh, we don't see anything. And I'm like, what do you mean? What was it? What did you feel? Like, what did I feel? I don't know what that was. I'm losing my mind. They took me to the hospital and they pulled out the biggest blood clot ever. I have a picture of it, but I'm not going to post it because I don't want you guys to be freaked out and then report me. So, huge blood clot. And I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. But I didn't feel my baby for a while, and I was scared. I was so scared. Until they did an ultrasound finally, as I was in there. I'm over here losing my mind, and my baby is literally jumping. Like, he's, like, actually jumping in there. And I'm like, okay, all right, so he's good. And I'm over here about to die, and he's just chilling. But he was good. But there was blood everywhere. There was blood in the toilet. It was like filled up like a bucket. Blood on the floor, blood all over my pants, blood all over the place. And when I tell you, they don't even know what happened or what caused the blood. Like, they looked, they did ultrasounds, they checked. It was like, okay, we don't know, but you're okay. Baby's okay. They sent me home. The next time I went to my husband's job and I was chilling, waiting. I didn't want to be home by myself. I was pregnant and I was like, okay, let me just go hang out with you. So I was there at his job. And then I just stayed in the lobby area. I'm on the computer and we're talking. We even went to go eat pizza and everything. It was chilling. Then I went back to the computer and I'm just sitting here just playing on my computer. And then all of a sudden I'm like, damn, I gotta pee. So I'm on the phone with my best friend at the time. Like, I'm speaking to her and we're talking and I'm walking to the bathroom, just waddling there with my backpack. I sit down on that toilet and there's blood. I said, oh. Now, given it wasn't as much blood as the first time. The first time was a bucket of blood. This time it wasn't a lot, but there was blood in the toilet. And I'm like, oh no. I said, okay, I have to call you back. I'm over here trying to hold it in so I don't cry. And I'm like, hey, I need to call you back. I texted my husband immediately and I was like, hey, I'm bleeding again. We went straight to the hospital that moment. They checked again. There was blood clots that came out, but not as like the first time. And I was like, okay, you're fine. They checked the baby and he's in there chilling, just wobbling around and whatnot. And I'm like, what's happening right now? Like, why am I bleeding so much? And I know I'm on blood thinner, so why all these blood clots? Like, what is happening? But I was sent home. I'm like, okay. All right, cool. Whatever. So weeks go by and I'm doing good. I'm doing fabulous. Everything is great. I'm already 8 months. I was 30 something weeks. I was about to be 8 months, I think. 30 something weeks. I don't remember. But yeah. I'm home again, chilling. And I go to the restroom and then blood. This time it was more than the second time, but not as much as the first time. There was just blood everywhere. I said, oh my God. I took a deep breath. I said, okay. I'm not going to the hospital this time because I keep being sent home. That was stupid of me. I have a heart condition. There's no, come on. I have to be on top of these things. I can't just take it with a grain of salt. I have to be on top of it. But I was like, I'm not going this time because I just keep being sent home. Baby's fine. They don't find anything, whatever. So I had an appointment the next day also, which is another reason why I wasn't really worried or anything. I told my husband and everything, and I was like, yeah, but let's just wait until the appointment. I'll tell her what's going on. So as I'm at my appointment, just checking. At this point, I'm going to the hospital like twice a week, every week. Every week. Every week. I'm back and forth, 2 different hospitals because it's high risk. And I told her, I was like, yeah, I was bleeding again yesterday. And, it was a lot. And she was like, and what happened? What they do? I said, I stayed home. And she was like, what? Why would you do that? And I'm like, well, they keep sending me home. And she was like, yeah, no. So she was like, you're going to the hospital. So she called up the other hospital, was like, hey, so she's coming tonight. She's coming there. She's getting her things. She's going right away. All right. Fast forward. I'm in the hospital. And that very same day, they tell me, you're going home with the baby. I'm like, just like that? Okay, cool. So at the time, I'm excited, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm excited, I'm happy, and I'm like, ooh. I called my husband while he was at work. I said, hey, we're gonna have this baby, and so we was ready, we was excited. I was scared. I'm like, oh my God, how's this gonna go? Because I was really trying my hardest to get them to allow me to push. Crazy, right? Me with this crazy heart condition, I want to push. I wanted to push so bad. I just didn't want to be cut open again. That trauma, like I don't want to be cut open anymore. But of course, it probably would have been best for me to have cut instead of trying to push and putting strain on my heart. But I was willing to try because I didn't want to feel that pain, the cutting and all that stuff. But yeah. So I get there to the labor and delivery room, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do one or two things. We're gonna remove that cerclage. If we remove the cerclage, the stitches, and you're not bleeding, you're good, then we're gonna induce you so you can push. I'm like, okay. But then they was like, okay, well, if we take that cerclage out and you bleed out, you're gonna have a C-section. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. Okay. So yeah. Call my husband, he rushes over, he showers, he gets all the stuff. He showers at the hospital, bags are there, we're ready. We take out the cerclage, and lo and behold, there's no blood. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. So they're gonna induce me. They're getting ready to give me things to induce and everything, and I'm like, yes. So they said, okay, well, we have to move you to another room so we can get all that done and stuff. And I'm like, okay, let's go. They was going to give me the epidural and everything all in that other room. So I get there. I sit on the bed. My sister joins me and my husband. My mom, she was on her way at the time because it was like late at night. And the cold is not really good for her. So it was best that she had gone home until it's time. So she was on her way back. My sister was there and my husband was there in the room. So as I am getting ready, I'm on the bed. I sit on the bed. I'm comfortable just like this. I'm sitting and I'm just like, ooh, I can't wait. I'm excited because they was about to give me the epidural. Epidurals suck, but I was excited because I was going to push. I'm sitting there, and as I'm sitting there, immediately, as I sat up straight, I felt huge amounts of liquid come out. I'm like, oh my God, what's that? Did my water break? Please let that be my water. Oh my God, is it time? Please let it be my water. I said, hey babe, come look at this. I called my husband and my sister to just come see if that's blood. I said, hey, can you please check what this is? Just see what that is. And it was like, that's blood. I'm like, oh, okay, it's blood. Okay, it's all right. At that point, I'm shaking. I'm losing my mind. I'm scared. I'm scared out of my mind because I'm like, okay, I know what this means. And I'm praying in my heart. I'm like, please, God, don't let this be as bad as I think it is. The nurse comes to come check me, or the doctor, I don't remember, but the lady, she was so sweet. And she was checking me, and she was like, yeah, that's a lot of blood. So in an instant, everything changed in that room. Everybody was taking their time at first. As soon as they found out, okay, that's blood, everybody just swarming everywhere, just getting this, getting that, just checking everything, moving this, that way and whatnot. And then my sister and my husband, they're just there, like in the corner. They can't do much. But immediately I bust out crying. And I'm crying and crying and I'm crying. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be cut open again. I was scared. I was so scared. I was scared. And as I'm crying, like I'm holding my face, like holding my hands like this to my face, just trying to hold in my tears, but I couldn't. And I'm crying like a baby. I couldn't even turn back around to look at my husband. I couldn't even turn back around to tell him I love you or nothing like that. Everything happened so fast. They got me out of there. They rushed me out to the operating room so fast. And I'm like, damn. I'm in there crying and shaking. And the worst thing about it is that as I'm in there, you know the thing is with C-sections, your arms have to be a certain way and whatnot. And everything has to be sterile. Everything has to just be in their place. And so my arms are there and I can't hold my tears anymore. I can't hold my eyes anymore because they pull my arms like this to the side. I'm not sure what was going on with that arm. I don't remember. But this arm, they had to, because of my heart, they had to insert something here. I don't remember what it was called, but it's a line. It's not an A line. That's the arterial line. Is it a central? I don't remember. I'll put it here if I can remember what it is. But something to monitor my blood pressure and things just, and something else. I guess, I don't remember. But it was like a thick thing. So basically, he had to use, what's it called? Like a monitor. And I guess he had to search for that vein or artery, whatever. And I felt it. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? What is he doing? I can't like look to see what's happening because the way my head is, because it's in something. Like I'm laying there and I'm losing my mind. I'm going crazy. I felt them prepping my stomach. They were shaving me. They cleaned my stomach. And all this is happening all at once. Big bright lights were over me. And it was just the scariest thing ever. And I'm like, please, God, I've heard stories. Please, I do not want to be awake during the C-section. Please. Because I noticed I didn't get anything for pain. I didn't get any epidural. What is happening? I'm scared. So I'm on the table. No epidural in sight. And the lady, she's there trying to comfort me. But I'm not listening to her. I'm losing my mind. And then she's like trying to say, it's okay, everything is gonna be okay, everything is fine. And I'm just like, lady, listen, I'm dying. And I felt everything. They put the plastic over my stomach. I felt all of it. And in my mind, immediately I snapped. I was like, okay, God, please help me. Please don't let this be it for me. Is this really it for me? My baby's gonna be out here and I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone. Like, is this really where I die when I go? Like, am I gonna make it? Can I, like, what's gonna happen? I was losing my mind talking to Jesus. And at one point I was like, okay, God, help me to be calm. I want to see your face. I want to see you. Please speak to me, something, comfort me, calm me. It was dead silent. I was losing my mind. I'm like, God, please comfort me. Help me. Like, I was scared. I was so scared. I'm like, I don't want to feel this pain. And then I was out. I was gone. When I was gone, I don't know. I probably got knocked out or something. I don't know. It's the way I was crying. It was too much for me. It was too much. Like, everything happened too fast. And it was really, 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 really hard to kind of like stay calm in that situation. It was the one thing that I didn't want to be cut open again. And then I had nothing for pain management. That's scary. I'm like, hands are like tied to the table. It's bright in there. God, am I gonna make it to heaven? Like, do you hear me? Are you here? Like, do you see me? Like, comfort me, help me. And I just hear them talking, all the doctors. And I'm like, God, please, I want to tone them out. If I could just speak to you, please. And that was it. And I woke up hours later, apparently. My baby, he was fine. They said he was out within minutes. Like, he was out 20 minutes. They got him out there. He was doing good. And my husband had him. They gave him to my husband. But I was away for 4 hours. Apparently during the surgery, my heart was kind of like my heart, I guess, was like, I don't know, maybe it's because it was just too much. I don't know. Or maybe it's because of the kind of stress that I was in before we started, because I was scared and whatnot. I probably passed out before they gave me the anesthesia, to be honest. I don't know. But, yeah, I was gone. They said it's like my heart was kind of like, it's almost as if my heart was trying to stop. Like, it was slowing down. and I wasn't breathing the way I should. Like my breathing was so faint. So they was in there losing their minds in there. My baby's over there chilling. The baby's fine, and I'm over here and fighting for my life. And that doctor, she came back to me and said that was a fight. And I'm like, dang. It reminded me of the time where I had open heart surgery as I was young. And my surgeon, he came to my mom. This was during recovery, and they was like, he said, he was like, it was a huge fight in there. Like, it was warfare in that room. But there were angels in there. And to hear that, it's crazy I can even remember that. To hear that from my surgeon, my heart surgeon, that was something. He was like, there was angels in there, but it was a fight. I'm like, it reminded me of that, because I'm like, what kind of warfare, what kind of battle was happening in there as I was gone, unconscious? Like, what was going on? All I knew for a fact was that God was there. He may not have come the way I had wanted him to. I didn't hear his voice or anything, but he was there. And that was more than enough for me to know that he was there. And so I wake up from surgery in the worst pain of my life. Well, surgery, I don't know what I'm saying. From the C-section, just to be clarified what I'm speaking about. I woke up from the C-section in the worst possible pain I have ever experienced in my entire being. Of a person. It was horrible because I didn't get the epidural, so basically I was just put to sleep. I woke up and I felt all of it. I felt everything. That cut, I promise, it felt like I got ran over by an 18-wheeler. I felt like I got sliced open with a katana, with a sword or something, or no, a dull knife is what it felt like, because it was horrible. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do nothing. I'm over here dying, about to pass out. And I wanted to see my mom first because I felt like a baby again. I was like, you want to see your husband or you want to see your mom? But I asked for my mom because in that moment, I felt like a child again. I felt like a baby that was in pain, dying, and just needed your mom. It was horrible. It was the scariest thing I had ever experienced. It was, well, so I thought it was the scariest thing, but at the time, it was the scariest thing. It was scary. It was painful. It was painful. And then finally, they was like, hey, do you want this for pain? They gave me like the button to press for morphine, I guess. And I'm like, yeah, let me get that, please. Help me. I'm pressing the button, pressing. I'm like, this is not working. Help me, please. It was never plugged in. But anyway, so they gave me my son. And man, it sucks to say this, but I was in so much pain that it was so hard to stay happy because of the amount of pain that I was in. But I saw him and I was in love. And I was like, oh my God. He's the cutest little guy, cutest little munchkin ever. He was only 4 pounds, 11 ounces. He came early. He was born at 34 weeks, so he was tiny. He was so tiny. His little feet was tiny. He had a tiny little head and everything. Like, he was just the cutest little guy, full head of hair. Now he's big and running things here, so. He was the cutest little baby I'd ever laid my eyes on. But they came to do the fondle massage. So I had a phone in this hand on FaceTime with my mom, had the baby in this hand. And then it was like, hey, we're going to massage your stomach now. I'm like, okay. What? Listen, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I have no more to say to that. So time has gone by and I'm doing fine. I recovered well. My baby was doing fine. The only issue that I actually had following having my son immediately was my hemoglobin was very, 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 very low. So I ended up needing blood transfusions. I had to get 2 transfusions because the first time it wasn't enough to bring it up as much as it needed. And the second time it brought it up just enough. But I lost a lot of blood, man. All those times I was bleeding, I'm not surprised. So I had to get a transfusion. I almost refused it, but only because of anxiety, not because I knew I didn't want it. I had too much anxiety, and I felt bad because my son he was perfectly fine and he couldn't go home because of me, you know? I had a line in my neck Is that the arterial line? I don't know. I, I'm not a medical professional, but I had this long tube in there leading to my heart. I had that. Yeah, it was something. Other than that, perfectly fine. Everything was good. I thank God. I thank God. I thank God for my baby. Yeah. So now, moving on. Months later, everything was doing good and my heart was doing fine. We had multiple checkups with my heart and my baby. He's doing perfectly fine. Um, the only concern with my son was that they because of my heart condition, they just wanted to make sure that he wasn't developing a heart condition. I didn't even know that could be passed down. I don't think I would forgive myself if I knew that I passed that down to my son. But thank God he's doing perfectly fine. God gave me a perfectly healthy baby boy. Months go by and I'm doing fine, taking my meds. I'm doing good, chilling. Sometimes I could be a little neglectful. You know, I have a son now, and a lot of my attention goes to him, if not all of it. So I sometimes neglect my own self. Um, as how many months was he? This was, I believe he was about, was it 5, 6 months? I don't recall. Um, he was a couple months old, big chunky boy, big chunky baby. I'm living normal, and out of nowhere, I noticed one day, like instantly, I was just so tired. Walking around, I was tired. Going up the stairs, I was tired. Like, and not just like your typical, I'm about to pass out, I'm sleepy tired. Like, tired, like winded. Like, I just ran a marathon for days. That kind of tired. And just walking, even laying down, I'm like, oh my God, I'm tired. I can't. That was happening. I'm like, what's wrong with me? I went to the gym and everything. Like, okay, let me just see. Maybe am I out of shape? Like, what's happening? And then one day I was like, it's quiet. Why is it so quiet? I didn't hear my heart ticking anymore. I didn't hear my heart valve. And I'm like, okay, I have to remember. Sometimes they say it could be quiet. Sometimes, you know. I'm like, okay. 2, 3 days go by. I don't hear it. And I'm still tired. I'm even more tired. And any kind of chemical I smell, it makes me want to pass out. Like, I can't breathe. Like, I'm dying. I'm choking. What is wrong? Now, keep in mind, we had a cruise coming up, right? So I'm over here trying to just see, okay, am I okay? Like, what's going on? I don't want to go to the hospital and miss it. But one day I was laying next to my son and I was like, man, I can't leave him without a mom. What if something happens to me because of my negligence? So I got my butt up and I went to the hospital. I got news that I was not expecting. I would have never expected in a million years. My heart valve was closed shut because of blood clots. So that was a huge emergency. They noticed that my valve was not moving. So instead of being like this, it just stayed like that. So no blood flow in my heart. How I survived all those days, I don't know. Now, that's not something that just, it happens overnight. That was happening over time. What triggered it? I don't know. Taking meds, I was taking my meds. It could have been because of what I was drinking. I don't know, or I have no idea. Was it because of after having my son? Because I know blood clots, these things, they travel. Like, what? I don't know. So immediately I was sent to the hospital. Like, well, I was in the hospital. I was sent to the emergency room. They didn't even want me to go home. I was like, no, I have to go home so I can see my son first. So I went home, I packed my bag. And I know they probably thought I wasn't going to come back either, because I have a tendency to try to escape the hospital, like a lot. So I know they probably thought I wasn't coming back, but I did, because I went already. Let me go, because the way this is going, if I decide to take my butt on that cruise, something bad could happen to me. So I went. So they came up with 2 different plans. It was like, okay, well, we'll give you the choice to either do one or the other. One option would be surgery. We'll just go in and repair this thing, but we can also fix the other valve that you're having issues while you're in there. And I'm like, heart surgery, all right. And then there is another thing called TPA. So TPA, I'm going to put the definition right there. TPA can refer to tissue plasminogen activator, a drug used to dissolve blood clots during an ischemic stroke, or so basically it's a clot buster. It breaks down blood clots. And so that would happen as a slow dose. It wouldn't be fast. If you're in an emergency and you're having a stroke, they would probably administer it fast, but they didn't do it fast for me. So that was the two options. They did tests. So they did a CT scan to check my brain first, of course, because the thing is, because it could break down blood clots, it's really strong. So they have to check to see if there's already any bleeding in my brain. We did the scan and everything, CT scan, MRI, all that stuff. Come to find out, I do have some bleeding in my brain, but they're like pin-sized bleeds. There's a few of them in my brain, and so they that was a concern of them. Like, okay, if we give you this, there's a chance that it could affect that. Like, you could bleed out, but then if that happens, you're done, basically dead. And I'm like, okay. And then the other option is heart surgery. Heart surgery, brain bleed. All right. So that was not an easy one. But as I was sitting thinking about this for hours and hours, I had the night to think about it. For some reason, the next morning, one of my cardiologists came to speak to me, like early morning. He came alone. Now, these doctors never come alone, for real. He came alone, and he was like, listen, I just want you to know that we had a meeting about this. And people they're not really agreeing. Like, it's a lot going on in that room about what to do with you, and they're not agreeing. And some of them wanted the heart surgery. A few of them wanted it. I was like, let's do this. But he was like, I strongly think that you should do the TPA. And the way he came to me, it was almost like a sign or like warning in a way. And I'm like, The way he came to me, because the thing is, he said they didn't even know that he was coming to speak to me. He just came to speak to me on his own. And it wasn't sitting right with me the way he was saying it. I'm like, okay. I spent hours just thinking about it. Because another doctor came to me later on to speak about how the surgery would have been better, but the way he came to me, I was not feeling it. Yeah, so I thought about it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And he finally came and was like, so what did you choose? I said, I'm going to do the TPA. And he had the biggest sigh of relief. And I'm like, I want to know what the problem, I want to know what why they had a disagreement, because why that huge sigh of relief? But anyway, I was going through a lot anyway. Skip forward. I was in that hospital for 2 hours. Sorry, 2 weeks. What the heck? 2 weeks. I was in there for 2 weeks. I did miss the cruise. It sucked. But 2 weeks. Those were the hardest 2 weeks of my life. The hardest 2 weeks of my life. So I had the TPA dosage. Those things go for 24 hours, 24 or 25 hours. So a slow dose for 25 hours. I'm there. I had to be in the ICU at the time. I had to be, because the way this drug is so strong, they had to be ready for me for whatever. So I was in the ICU. At the time, my baby was only a few months old, right? So it was best that he wasn't constantly in the hospital. That hurt me so bad, because although I wanted to see him, I wanted to be with him all day, because I was with him every single day from having my son to that time. And I'm like, I couldn't see him as much as I wanted to while I was in there. And it broke me. It broke me so bad. It broke me. So I could only see him for like an hour a day. I was barely there with it. I could barely see him. that's my baby. Like, I don't want to go a day without being with him. Like, I don't want to spend time without him. So I could only see him for an hour a day at the time. And that alone was killing me. But not only was I dealing with that, but I was scared. The thing is with ICU, the hours are different, the visiting hours, and then who could be there, how many people could be in there. So I was scared and alone, and at nighttime, I was by myself thinking, oh my God, so what happens if I die in the hospital and my family's not here with me? Because what if something does happen to my brain? What if my brain does bleed out and no one's here and it's just me and they're just gonna receive a phone call saying that I passed, I'm gone. I was scared, man. I was so scared. I was scared, man, because I was alone. It was quiet. Now, at the time, I was writing my book. So I was writing for months. And as I'm in the hospital, I have my book with me. So I'm just writing and writing and writing. My testimony, by the way. I'm writing it and I'm like, okay, I have to get this done. And so I'm just doing as best as I can to write and stay up in the middle of the night to keep myself busy. Days go by and I'm still on the TPA because they keep checking to see if the clots are gone, if my valve is moving, but I had no luck. For the first dose, there was no luck, nothing moved. The second dose, things started to change. The valve was moving just a little bit. Third dose, that's when things actually started to change. So that's a lot of TPA in my system with these brain bleeds in my head, these little micro hemorrhages. That's dangerous, but they kept going. So I think I had 4 doses, three or 4 doses, if I can remember. I don't remember exactly. But I promise you, I was in there fighting for my life. Like, okay, can I go? I want to go home. I just want to get out of here. I want to go. Because the thing is, in ICU, you really can't have babies in there at all. But of course, they gave me some grace because, he was a little baby. And I wanted to be with him because they knew that if they didn't let me see him, I was going to leave. I tried to leave many times, honestly. Yeah, it was crazy. That was the worst possible thing that I could have done. But yes, I did try to leave a few times. Yeah, but then December 10th, that was our wedding anniversary. So this was happening that week of our anniversary. So December 10th, things got a little crazy. So I was still on my 3rd dose, I think, at the time, 2nd or 3rd dose of the TPA. And I was on the phone with my sister. I was on FaceTime and I was talking, relaxing. And then suddenly I was like, I have to use the bathroom. So I went to the restroom. And as I was sitting there, I felt weird. My face felt like it was dropping. And I'm like, oh no. I panicked immediately because I knew what kind of medication I was on. And I knew that I had the things going on in my brain. I was like, okay, something's wrong. My face feels like it's dropping and it's going numb. And so I'm there and I'm like, okay, all right, shake it off. All right, it's gone. I'm good. It went away. I went back to the bed to sit down. I continued the conversation with her and I was talking to my sister. I was like, hey, this happened to me, but I'm glad that she was on the phone with me because I just needed someone there to speak to. A few minutes go by and then all of a sudden, as I'm sitting down, I couldn't see anymore. So I'm sitting there and I just went blind. I'm speaking to my sister and I'm panicking on the inside, not so much on the outside. When I get migraines, I get these things in my eyeballs, these auras, these floating things, whatever. And I'm like, okay, am I getting a migraine? Because I saw it floating around. But this one turned into blindness. So I couldn't see anymore. I couldn't see. And I'm over here rubbing my eyes like, okay, God, no, there's no way. I'm not going blind. I'm not going blind right now. Like, no, God, there's no way. I can't go blind right now. Like, this can't be happening. No way. No, like, I'm rubbing my eyes, like, violently rubbing, like, okay, God, I can't. Not, no, I can't go blind. I can't be blind. I can't be blind. No, please. And I was scared out of my mind. I'm like, no, there's no way. I can't lose my sight. And then it went away. And then I could see again. For anyone wondering what blindness looks like, what it feels like, because I've always wondered, I wonder what do they see when they're blind? Like, what can you actually see? It was like a bunch of nothing. Like, it wasn't dark. It was like a blank canvas. Like, it was just blank. But basically like having a white sheet over you and it's dim. So whenever it's dark, it'll go dark, and then light, it'll go light. But it's like having a sheet over your eyes. Like just plain white, a thick sheet on top of that. And so I could see again. And then I went to go talk to my doctor, my nurse that was taking care of me at the time, and I told her what was happening. She was like, okay, well, you're already on the TPA, so that's good. So if there's a blood clot, if it's a stroke, then it's going to break it down already. And I was like, okay. Okay, cool. I still lost my mind. I was like, no, there's no way. Can you please call my doctor or do something? I was like, no, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Don't get me wrong. She was a great doctor. A great nurse. But there was no way I was just going to carry on like that. I sat on the chair that she made me go sit in. I sat down. I prayed. I said, God, please send a doctor, someone who's really going to listen to me, who's going to care, who's going to actually do something about this, to check my brain. I just want to know what's happening. Please, God, please. Because even if nothing happened for real, even if nothing is changing, I want to be sure. 2 minutes later, my cardiologist showed up. I'm like, okay, thank God you heard me. So he went to go do a scan of my brain, right? That was the plan. I went to go do a scan of my brain just to see how everything goes. Now, a whole team of them came in, the doctors, technicians, everybody came in getting me ready to go. And for some reason, as I was there, things started to get blurry. So I was being asked all types of questions, simple questions about me, about my history and stuff like that. I couldn't remember. They started asking me questions about me, my history, about my son, everything. And I couldn't remember. I was in shock. Because they was like, well, you don't have to answer. It's okay. You don't have to answer these questions. And I'm just like, well, I have a son? What son? I don't have a baby. What do you... And in my mind, I'm like, I don't remember him. I don't remember his birthday. I don't remember anything. And I was like, baby? I temporarily, thank God it's temporarily, I lost the memory of my son. The son that I was praying months and months and months and months for, fasting for, dedicated my life for, like just giving, like, I forgot my son. I don't care if I forgot things about myself. I forgot my son. I forgot him. And I sat and I was just in shock. Now, that was hard, man. That was hard. It was hard. It was really hard. Yeah, so I did my tests. My brain was fine. Everything was good. Everything was okay. And I sat and I just, when I got back to the room, I was talking about it, and I sat and I cried, and I sat there and thought to myself, I can't imagine not only forgetting my son, but not being able to see him again. If I had stayed blind, what if I had stayed blind? What if my vision didn't come back? What if my memory didn't come back? What if it was permanent? My son, this son that I prayed for, that I fasted for, sacrificed my life for. Can you imagine if I forgot him? There was a time where I was speaking to God, and this is after all this happened, and I'm like, my memory is no good now. There's a lot of things I can't remember. I sat and thought to God, and I was like, if I was to choose between losing my memory of my life or dying, let me die. Because can you imagine going through all this and you just forget? I mean, all this that you've been through and you just forget it. Like it never happened. Like it never happened. I would rather die because I've been through too much to just forget it, to forget all of this. So imagine, I prayed all that time. I prayed for my son just to forget him. The memory of him just gone. And then blind on top of that, like that was the most traumatizing 2 weeks I've ever had in my life. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And it's crazy because the first week and a half, I was blaming myself. I was mad at myself. I'm like, God, are you angry with me? Because I never finished writing the testimony. I never finished writing it. You're angry with me, and that's why I'm going through this. Like, is it because of what I did? Because of my neglect? Because I didn't finish it? And I'm blaming myself, and I'm just like, God doesn't want to hear me no more. He doesn't want to hear from me. He's done with me. He doesn't want anything to do with this testimony no more because of how much I don't care about it. And it's not true, but that's what it felt like. It looked like that. And then I was beating myself up that week and a half until the last 3 days. I was alone. They put me in a different room. I was alone, and it was dark and it was quiet. I was a little scared because I'm like, this room is really creepy. I was like, you know what? No. Why on earth would God bring me this far just to let me go? Bring me this far just to be like, okay, well, you know what? Never mind. I don't forget it. No, after all this that I've been through, we had an agreement that I would testify. Why now would he decide to just cut me loose? God has taken care of me from the very beginning to this day. Like, there has never been a time where he's let me down. He has always taken care of me. Why now would he decide to give me up like that? Why? Of all the things that I've done in my life that he could have said, okay, well, that's it, you're done. He didn't. Why now all of a sudden would he let me go? Like, why? So I turned it around. I said, devil, you are a liar. You are a liar and a defeated fool. God did not bring me this far to let me go. This testimony is going to win souls for God. This testimony right here is going to bring people closer to God. People are going to know about the things that God has done for me. Like, this testimony is not going to be silenced. I don't care what kind of negative thoughts come into my mind. This testimony is going to be talked about. It's going to be shared. It's going to be for God's glory. Why all of a sudden would he just change his mind like that? Like, there's no way. He never got his portion of the deal. He never got the glory for me that I said I would give him. Why now would he decide to cut the cord and just let me go? God is going to get the glory for this. I went home. My heart was not completely healed. However, a part of the valve was opening, and my cardiologist, he called it. He said, you know what, that's it. Who knows what could have happened if we kept going. I really could have had trouble with my brain. He was like, okay, that's it. The heart is fine over time. We'll give you stronger dosages of the warfarin, and, we'll go from there. But you can go home, just like that. And I went home. And I didn't even remember. I couldn't recognize my own home because my memory was trying to come back. It was scary. But I'm here and I'm alive and well. Like, God is good. Because I shouldn't be here. Like, I sit there and I look back at my life and I just wonder why God loves me so much. Why does he keep me here? Now, on the outside looking in, on someone who doesn't have faith, they would think, okay, God does not like you. Because look at all this that you're going through and you telling me that he's good. Well, yeah. Because I could be dead. I could be 6 feet under already. I'm living and breathing and I could still live my life. And it's not like he's holding me at gunpoint. Well, you got to do this, you got to do that. God still gave me free will, but I'm going to choose to give him glory because I'm still alive and breathing. I have a son. I wasn't supposed to have one, but I have one. I'm married. I'm healthy. I'm walking up and down stairs, I'm running, I'm in the gym, I'm taking care of myself. I'm alive and well in Jesus' name. So I feel like despite everything that I've been through and all this stuff that I'm going through, it's like I'm choosing to still be happy. I'm choosing to give God glory. I'm choosing to worship God and to tell him thank you, because I refuse to have gone through all this and still be bitter, to have a bitter soul. Oh, he's doing this to me, he's done that to me. God is good, because he's the reason why I'm still here. Now, I know a lot of people probably would not be happy with me giving God glory because of all the stuff that's happened to me. And yes, I have amazing doctors. I have world-class doctors, surgeons, all of them, an entire team who is dedicated so much time to my health, and they are talented. But let me tell you, they wouldn't be where they are without God, whether even they believe it or not. Because the right place at the right time does exist, and God will place people in your life at the right place at the right time. And my God is good, because all the things that I've been through, with all the things that I've been through, I don't know how I'm alive, but God is good. God is really, really, really good. And you can pick and choose whether you want to give your life to him, but he has mine in the palm of his hands. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to share this with you guys, because it's been a long time coming. It's been a long, long, long time coming that I was supposed to share this testimony, and I never got a chance to. But God is good. I've been cut open so many times. I've been traumatized so many times in the hospital. Like, I've been through some things, man. I've been through some things. Some minor, some major, but let me tell you something. Through everything that I've been through, God has been there with me. Jesus has been there with me. Jesus himself, since a child, since I was a little, tiny little girl, he's always been my best friend. There'd be some times where I would just sit alone and I'm just talking to Jesus as if I could see him right here sitting next to me. And it's because of that relationship that I have with Jesus that I'm still positive, that I'm still trying and still fighting. It's because of that. Because when I picture Jesus with a smile. I picture Jesus with his heart for me, with room in his hands to hold me. That's the reason why I'm still positive. I'm a happy person. After all that crap I've been through, yeah, I'm a very happy person, a very positive person, and that is because of Jesus. So I look at some of these pictures and I'm just like, I can't believe I was there. I can't believe that was me, that is me. I can't believe I was in that spot. I was in that place. I can't believe that I've come this far, with the only scratch on me being this scar right here. God is good, guys. God is good. So I don't know. I feel sometimes like people take God for granted, and I understand that sometimes God does things that you don't 100% agree with, but he always does it with you in mind, because he does love you. He loves us all. It's just sometimes life has a way of showing us differently, but God is good. So that's my testimony, and I'm very grateful that you sat and watched it. You made it all the way to the end, but there's so much more to this. There's so much more that I couldn't actually put in words right now, but my testimony, I know it's not finished yet, but I'm just praying that now this is where I can finally give myself some rest and just tell the world about what God has done for me, because I'm tired of these surgeries in hospitals. But I pray that now is the time for me to just speak and show God how much I love and how much I care and how much I thank Him. So if you want to hear more about the testimony, hear more details of my testimony, my book, I'll put it right here. It highlights everything, every portion of my testimony in more detail, greater detail, things that I couldn't even remember to mention right now because my brain is all wacky. So yeah, thank you so much again for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed my testimony and you received something from my testimony, and that it really, really spoke to you in some way, and that you will share this. Please share this testimony with others. Thank you.